were directly responsible for the demonstrations a mile away at Union Square. Also the demonstrators outside City Hall, and also those trying to get into the hearing. The committee narrator tells you it's a communist tactic for witnesses to defy it. If so, why does the committee subpoena the same witnesses again and again? Is it because they really think the witnesses will suddenly break down and make some dramatic disclosure? Or is it because they can count on a stubborn, defiant witness making a good newspaper story? The committee doesn't like statements from unfriendly witnesses. Its rules say that any statement can be rejected as an attack on the committee. So any witness who dares disagree has no way of being heard, either verbally or in writing, without the committee's indulgence. Here we see Archie Brown attempting to read just such a statement.
I live at 1027 Brussels Street, San Francisco. I am a longshoreman. I want to state, Mr. Chairman, that I have something to tell the committee. I want to tell the committee.
In response to a subpoena which was served upon you by this committee.
My family is being threatened.
Today in response to a subpoena which was served upon you by this committee. Mr. Chairman, I expect to suggest the witness now be ordered and directed to answer the question.
I direct you to answer that question.
Are you referring today in response to a subpoena served upon you by this committee?
Yes, it was served on me by this committee.
And are you represented by counsel?
That I am.
Counsel, will you kindly identify yourself?
George Anderson.
Mr. Brown, where and when were you born?
Mr. Chairman, I want to state that
I direct you to answer the question. That's the only way we can proceed orderly.
Well, I was subpoenaed here.
You are under direction.
Where and when were you born, sir?
I was subpoenaed here, and my family.
With the next question.
My family.
If you please, sir.
With the next question.
I was born in Sioux City, Iowa.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully suggest the witness now be ordered and directed to answer the outstanding principal question.
What is the outstanding principal question?
The outstanding principal question is where and when were you born?
I already said it.
Give us then, please, a word about your education.
As Archie Brown doggedly continues his efforts to read a statement, Chairman Willis threatens him with expulsion from the hearing room.
I'm born.
I already said it.
Give us then, please, a word about your education.
As Archie Brown doggedly continues his efforts to read a statement, Chairman Willis threatens him with expulsion from the hearing room.
Under the rule of the committee, you may file that paper with our director at this time, if you wish to.
I wish to read this statement. I want to read this statement, Mr. Chairman. How come that you're bridling me? I want to explain my position. All right. I want to.
You may file the statement. You may not read it.
I want to read my statement and want to make a motion.
I direct you, sir, to escort the witness outside the courtroom.
Amendment 14 of the Constitution.
And Archie Brown is forcibly removed for the third time. The committee needn't have been surprised that this next witness, William Mandel, turned out to be hostile. Their narrator described him as, quote, an identified agent of the Communist Party, end quote. What did they expect? Well, they expected an outburst, because this is great publicity. In fairness to Mr. Mandel, it should be said that the testimony you hear was presented out of context.
If you think that I am going to cooperate with this collection of Judases, of men who sit there in violation of the United States Constitution, if you think I will cooperate with you in any way, you are insane.
Now, sir, we elect here.
Mandel's answer that he was a lecturer was left out. And now we hear only part of his answer to the next question, whether he was a party member and lectured as such.
This question has no purpose other than to harass me. When I was asked this question last in 1943 by the late Joe McCarthy, and let me say that I am honored when people come up to me on the street, perhaps I don't deserve this honor, and say, "You're the man who killed Joe McCarthy." Because I happened to appear on the first day of the book burning hearing, and I did my best to conduct myself in the manner which I'm conducting myself today. If there were any such evidence against me under any law, the proper authorities could move against me. This body is improperly constituted. It is a kangaroo court. It does not have my respect. It has my utmost contempt. And I am not going to answer that question, sir.
Next, you will see Frank Wilkinson being interviewed by a newsman. He is described by Congressman Gordon H. Shearer as a top communist agent and accused of agitating among the student demonstrators. Of course, this accusation is totally unsupported and just as phony as the crowd noises that were dubbed into the film.
Front of City Hall today? No, I've just been an observer of those. I understood you had said you were organizing protests against the committee. Yes, one of the things that our committee does and that I do for our committee is to come to each community when the committee issues its subpoena to assist the subpoenaed persons and others in the community who are not familiar with the kind of unconstitutional behavior that this committee carries on, to assist that community and to assist those subpoenees in their own self-defense.
In the committee hearings today, you were called an international communist agent. Are you a communist?
That's a very flattering remark. I've been frequently called a hardcore communist, a local communist by Mr. Ahrens, but never an international communist. As far as the basic question is concerned, until the Supreme Court has answered the fundamental constitutional question, which is now pending in my case, which is one of the 36 First Amendment test cases of this committee, until they have resolved this matter and declared these kind of questions under compulsion to be illegal and unconstitutional, I refuse to answer the question.